and welcome to Say It Loud, an experience in the art form of spoken word. I'm here today at Portlock Gallery. I want to welcome you all here. My good friend Synnika Lofton has assembled with us today a team or a collection of phenomenal spoken word artists. Synnika, why don't you kind of introduce to us who we have today?
Okay, to my left here, this is the extraordinary Madeline Garcia.
Hello.
To her left is my longtime friend and poet, Mr. Nathan Richardson. Hello. And right here is Mrs. Tonie Sheeley, aka The Quiet Storm.
Wonderful. So let's kind of start with a little bit of a discussion as to what is this genre, what is this art form that is spoken word? Okay. Nathan, why don't you share with me a little bit about what your experience has been and what it means to you?
Well, I grew up in a family of storytellers, just old cats on the porch, telling old tall tales. And so I was that kid that wasn't out playing. I was, kind of at their feet trying to hear what they were saying. And although I picked up poetry in high school, fell in love with it, and was on the page, it was an evolution that I came back around to spoken word and standing up and reciting poetry out loud. I say it like this, spoken word is to the written word what music is to the lyric. So we bring it off the music sheet and out loud so people can hear it.
I think what's really interesting also, as kind of the story that you're telling, and you all can also chime in on this, is just the idea that so much of African history was always told by, I guess, the griot or the bard, the person who could recite the history or the stories. What kind of experiences do you have learning about that?
Well, it's definitely interesting because, Africa has, for thousands of years had a long tradition of oral tradition and passing on stories and history and culture and all those things through the oral tradition. So it's interesting nowadays, when spoken word poets, realize that there's a long history behind, what they do. It kind of like enhances their own, their own experiences, and just to piggyback off what Nathan was saying, spoken word poetry is it's rooted in oral tradition, certainly rooted there. And really spoken word can be, it's really the oral recitation of anything. It could be James Earl Jones reading portions of the Bible, Chris Rock with a comedy album, and poets all, obviously use it as well. And not just like aspects of performance, but they also use aspects of literary tradition. So sometimes you might hear a poet use a lot of literary devices, within the poetry to kind of enhance the poetry. At the same time, it's a narrative, so it's a longer piece of work. So haiku has a certain line limit. A spoken word poem can go for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on on the poet.
All right, and Tonie, Miss Quiet Storm, being from Jersey, and essentially just below the boroughs of New York City,
right.
Is there some kind of connection between what we hear, for instance, say in the early days of rap or what have you, and spoken word? Is there some kinship?
I'm pretty sure there is. I'm fairly new to the spoken word community. I actually came in under Nathan, following him some years back. I was an audience member for years. So, but from what I hear, there's a strong tradition of spoken word in New York, big time, yeah.
Well, we talked a great deal about the African tradition of storytelling. We talked a lot about what this essentially is being Black History Month and how these connections are. Madeline, you're in fact from the Dominican Republic, and there is kind of, I would imagine, this Afro-Latin or Afro-Caribbean community. Can you share with me a little bit about that?
Of course. Actually, I was born in New York. My family is originally from the Dominican Republic. So, and as I mentioned before, I got to live in Dominican Republic for the first 13 years of my life. Very diverse, very mixed, racially mixed, white, black, all colors, and like you said, infused by the African flavor. So music always played a big part in my family reunions, and going back a little bit to storytelling, that's kind of what we use to do that, music. So that's always been a very big influence in my writing. And as Tonie said, I didn't start writing until later on and performing much later on, but I can definitely see that because my poetry rhymes, and sometimes if I say it really fast, it could be a song. So, so yes, I can say that music very much influenced.
Well, Madeline, we'll be coming to you first. So you have some pieces of, that you're going to perform today. What will we be hearing?
I'm going to perform 2 pieces for you. The first one kind of addresses the racial controversy that's been going on, in the country right now. So it has a little mix of everything, as well as my pride for my culture. My second and that first piece is called More Than a Fist. The second piece is called Mulata, or I Am Who I Am, and basically, again, explains who I am culturally, and it's going to be a Spanglish piece. So I'm going to give you a little flavor of both.
All right. Well, in a moment, we'll be back with Madeline Garcia performing her two pieces. Please stay with us. Say It Loud, a spoken word experience.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Welcome back to Say It Loud, a spoken word experience. And now, Miss Madeline Garcia.
Why are we okay with assumptions? Perhaps afraid of asking a simple question, we rather allow perception to dictate first impressions. Why is my skin a label? Why must there be an explanation attached to your perception in order for you to determine if I am a worth knowing kind of person? Why are we so afraid of the unfamiliar? That when we can't point to what society deems as the norm, we feel threatened by the possibilities of what's to come. But all I'm asking is for you to give someone like me a chance. Give me a chance to be. Don't delete me even before I've made the list. I'm not asking for merits that I haven't earned, but after hundreds of years, I know I am more than just a descendant of slaves. I have to admit, we look at stereotypes and we give in, injecting truth into assumptions, giving them room to be alive, losing our individuality to fit ourselves into a pack, falling prey to others' belief of who we are or who we ought to be. But it is time to change that, to settle the forest fires that have been burning from years past, fires that have left my ancestors with a bitter taste of life, and today we have inherited the resentment like we did the color of our eyes. We insist on fighting one another instead of creating bonds, damaging each other, not understanding that united we are strong. This anger, your anger, my anger, it needs more than a fist. No more blood spilled over Skittles or nightmares that won't let me breathe. How many more need to die before the internal eye starts to believe that society doesn't need to accept me? I must create my way in. Show them that there is more to me than the excess melanin that's accumulated in my skin. It is time to change that, to mark this generation with my words. Shatter the theory that I need to get back to where I came from, because believe it or not, this great nation was built on the shoulders of my ancestors' hard work, so that today I can voice with pride who I am and where I come from. I am an American citizen, born and raised in New New York, a Dominican York, with a heavy accent and a harsh tongue, exercising dual control of 2 languages, allowing me to enjoy my beautiful Taino heritage and still put my stamp into this world. It is my job to let the others coming up behind me know not to be afraid to be who you want to be. If you don't have a role model, create one and be it. I have learned that if I accept who I am, hate will never touch me. It just becomes fuel for my will. Violence doesn't need more violence, like you don't fight fire with gasoline. So this anger that we're feeling, this anger, it needs more than a fist. It needs education. It needs conversation. It needs a voice in you and in me.
All right.
Yo soy mulata. Soy una mezcla divina. Soy blanca, negra, india, taína, de matiz, azúcar, crema. Pero soy más que un simple color. Soy fuego, pureza, ardor, quemando dentro de mi ser. Se asienta a su propio nivel, haciendo residencia en mis caderas. Se alegra al sonido del tambor, timbales fuera de control. Azúcar. Celia Cruz, reflejada en mi voz. But I'll say it again. Yo soy mulata. I am a mixture of divine, taína, black and white in a brown sugar shade. I am sweet, but make no mistake, it goes beyond the colors you get to see. It is this fire burning inside of me, layered between the rhythms cascading from my hips. It is the sound of the drums, timbales out of control. It's in the swirl I carry inside of my soul. Azúcar in my Celia Cruz voice. But I am history. I am a history that's rich. I am what you get when you add Christopher Columbus to the Caribbean born. Merengue, bachata, sabor, puro son. Quisqueya la Bella, that's where I'm from. I am the outcome of the Spanish invasion into an indigenous world, creating our own culture from the new and the old. I am a sancocho, full of flavor and sazon, and that's a big gumbo soup for those of you who don't know. I am a blend of the desperate cries and the strength of the caciques who fought so hard to preserve themselves. To our gumbo soup, we added extra broth in the hopes that our past sufferings won't set limits to our pride and our joy. We also gave it a kick so that the new generation understands that in order to know where you're going, you must learn of the struggles of those who came first. Our history, we need to know. Being different is no shame. Things will always be hard before they become easy again. Some are a rainbow of color inside, but no, not I. You see, I get to wear mine with pride. It is on my skin. It is branded within my curves. It's in the shape of my nose. It's in the Arawakan influences to the Spanish language that I speak and I love. I can always adapt to where I'm at. But history is written on me. I can choose to hide, or I can embrace that I am an amalgamation of the past and the present, the best. I can let others stereotype me, or I can educate them, infect them with my state of being, this pride that I feel living inside of my skin. My skin, that's not only black, but it is white, it is India, it is Taína, it is the Dominican in me. Understanding who I am before I can teach. Not letting one label define me, because I am who I am, and I will always be a beautiful mix. I am a Dominican mulata, or you can simply call me Maddie. Thank you.
Wow, we heard some extremely exciting and passionate spoken word. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm old in the poetry, and I heard quite a bit. And one of the things I heard, particularly in that second piece by Madeline, thank you so much for sharing, was I heard some Maya Angelou, Phenomenal Woman in there, and I heard that obviously we discussed Black Lives Matter. What did you hear, Tonie?
Oh, I heard New York, I heard the Dominican Republic, I heard strong woman representing women everywhere, you know, yeah.